Hi and welcome back to capitalforextraining.com, and we are now in a new section called technical indicators. In this section we're going to discuss various indicators that you're going to use throughout your trading, starting off with the ADX indicator, which stands for the average directional index. But before we get started, I just want to ease your mind a little bit about the software that you see in front of you. It's changed from the previous, the software that we used in our previous videos, and we're now using the MT5 platform, which is just the upgraded version of the MT4 platform. No real reason really, we just wanted to adapt a little bit more to what other people were using, and just to make it fair for everybody. And the charts are the same, the prices are the same, everything is the same except just the layout and the colors that you see in front of you, that's all. So back to the ADX indicator. In terms of definition, what the ADX indicator gives us is two things. A, it gives us an indication whether the market we're looking at is currently trending, and B, it tells us how strong that trend actually is. Okay, so it's a sort of a measuring tool to let you know whether the market is trending and obviously how strong that trend is. Okay, so what we need to do first of all is to insert the ADX indicator onto our charts. Now, if you're using something other than MT5, if you just go to the section of the software where all your indicators are kept, locate ADX indicator and select it from there. It will be in there. It's actually one of the most used indicators in the world, and it just comes as standard in any charting software. But if you're using MT5, if you just click onto Insert at the top left, go to Indicators, down to Trend, and then it's right here. Third one down, the average directional movement index Wilder. Okay, click that, and now you're in the parameter screen. So you need to choose the period for the indicator, which needs to be 14. Nothing else, it needs to be 14. So make sure you select that and click OK. Now, the big, thick black line is the one that you need to look out for. I've actually change that in my parameters. So if I right click on the line, go into properties, I can actually change the thickness and the color of the line there, and that's where I've done it. So click OK. The black line is the one that you need to take notice of, as I said. So if I just go to my cursor, the measurement for the ADX indicator is on the right hand side, and it's measured between 0 and 65 in this case. It doesn't really matter what it goes up to, even if it goes up to 100, it doesn't matter, because we're only interested in a certain area that I'm going to go through in a moment. But obviously, I just want to make sure that you know, obviously, as the cursor goes up, the measurement goes up on the right hand side. It's on 50 now, 56, 57, 60, and obviously as you go down, we go all the way down to 0. Okay, so the magic number that you need to look out for, that you need to engrave in your mind, is number 25. That is the measurement of ADX that is relative to what we're doing. Okay, so just to make sure that happens, I'm going to select a horizontal line and I'm going to put it down here. Okay, then I'm going to right click it. So if you do that, go into the properties, go under the parameters tab, and type in 25. Click OK, and if you double click, that line stays there and you can't move it. Okay, so now my horizontal line is at 25. Okay. Before we go further into the ADX indicator, I'm just going to explain to you what the other two lines mean as well. They are sometimes referred to as DI lines or DMI lines, which stands for Directional Moving Index. Okay, I'm going to refer to them as plus DI and minus DI. Okay, the plus DI is the green one, and the minus DI is the red one. Okay, so if I right click into any one of those, I'll go into properties, I'm in that screen again, and you can choose which colors you want your plus DI to be and which color you want your DI to be, and the same again with thickness, the kind of line, whatever. Okay, so I've chosen the plus DI to be green and the minus DI to be red. Okay, logically. So click OK. Now, what does the plus DI line do? Well, the plus DI line actually measures the strength of an uptrend. It has no interest in the downtrend. whatsoever. Okay, so if we just go, let's select, I don't know, say for example this area there and this area there. Okay, you can see, I'm just going to move it across here, you can see that the current market in this little section is in an uptrend. Okay, so the green line is going up. Okay, that's as simple as, sorry, as complicated as it gets. Okay, if I just move this section across, say here to here, okay, you can see, in fact, I'm just going to zoom out a little bit. I've just chosen that because it's obviously a clear downtrend there. You've got three strong black candles going in a downtrend. So what, I'm not interested in the plus DI line anymore because that measures uptrends. It doesn't measure downtrends. What I'm interested in is the minus DI line. So the minus DI line is going upwards, which means that the downtrend, that the market is currently downtrending, sorry. So the measurements, obviously, if you can see on the right hand side with my cursor, as that goes up, obviously the measurement goes up, but the strength of the downtrend is increasing. Okay, don't get confused in terms of you expecting that red line, the minus DI line, to go down as the downtrend goes. No, that's not right, and you'll make mistakes if you do that. It goes up. When the green line goes upwards, when the plus DI line goes upwards, the market is trending upwards. And when the red line, i.e. the minus DI line, goes upwards, the market is trending downwards. Okay? So, you may think that it was maybe a little bit unnecessary to explain that because we're not actually going to use those two lines. I just want to make sure that you know what they are, because you need to know that as traders, okay? And the end product of those two lines is this big black ADX line, okay? Now, going back to the magic number of 25, the reason why 25 is a magic number is because when the first thing we need to do, as I've mentioned it before, is decide whether the market is currently trending. Okay, so the way that we know that is if the black line, the ADX line, breaks over the 25 marker. Okay, if the black line, the ADX line, breaks over the 25, the 25 marker, the 25 horizontal line, we know that the market is trending. Okay, so that will be here. Okay, let's say here a little bit further on, right? So what we need to do is now decide in which direction the market is actually trending into, okay? Because that's the one thing that the ADX indicator doesn't give us. It tells us the market is trending, but it doesn't tell us in which direction. So what we need to do is obviously look at the chart and see, well, which direction is the market actually going to? And in this occasion, you can see it's going down. So if I just put a line here, which is the end of the trend here, which is the just where it crosses over the crosses under the 25 line, you can see that in this section here, the market is trending downwards. So as we're trading, it crosses over the 25. The market, I mean, okay, it's gone up a little bit, but we're looking at the overall trend. We're not interested in this little part. We know that the market is trending downwards. Now, in fact, what I'm going to do is just move this across to here, because you can see that from this point, while the market is trending, while the ADX is going upwards, at this point you can see that the ADX line is starting to decrease. We don't wait until the market is down here under the 25 line. We can blatantly see that the ADX line is decreasing, i.e. that our trend is decreasing as well in its strength. So as the ADX line goes up, the downtrend that we've decided the market's going into is continuing to go down, and when the ADX line goes down, the trend starts to stall, and it doesn't really do anything. In this occasion, it's gone up, whatever, it doesn't matter. But the point is that the trend that you're using the ADX for is now coming to an end. Okay, so let's do another example. Let's go. Oh, there's a good one here. Okay, so ADX. I'm just going to move this, okay, to here. So that's the, here we go. Okay, so the beginning of the ADX 25 breakout and the end, I suppose, of the ADX 25 breakout, i.e. when it goes under the 25 line. So in this section here, you can see that while the ADX or going up in the upwards direction, the strength of the trend is increasing as well, and it's continuing to further fall. Okay, now I'm going to do the same thing. I'm going to move the line here because I can see that from this point on the ADX is starting to decrease, and you can see here that the price levels are starting to stall. The steam that this trend had is just running out, and you can see that for a while it doesn't really do anything. You know, it just kind of stalls, goes up a little bit, whatever. It doesn't really do anything. That's what we're interested in. That there, the ADX going upwards and the strength of the downwards trend, and it, while it's continuing to go down. Okay, so that's the ADX. What you need to also, before we go, just bear a couple of things in mind. There may be a lot of people and a lot of traders that don't use 25. They use 20 as a breakout point, which is fine if that's kind of how you want to do it. But I think that when you use 20, I'm just going to kind of scroll down here. That's around about the 20 range. It's a little bit more. You can see here that if I use the 20 as a measurement, in fact it's gone all the way down there, I would have probably missed out on that because it's not crossed over. You know, it didn't come from, you know, from say 15 up to 20, but it did come up from 20 to 25, so it's a crossover. So I'm not really here to call highs and to call lows. I'm here to catch a trend that's being played in the market at the moment and just ride it until I know that it's running out of steam, you know. And if that continues to go down for another 3 or 4 days, then I'll still be in that trend, you know. So I think when it gets to 20, the best way to look at it, if you're desperate to trade the 20, is to look, there's an indication that the market may be thinking about going into a trend, but once it crosses over the 25, that's the number that you need to keep in mind. That's when you know that the market is trending. Okay, and from that point on, you just need to decide obviously in which direction it's trending into, and you do that just by looking on the charts. Okay, and the last thing before we go in terms of ADX, ADX can sometimes be delayed, and what I mean by that is, I'm just wondering if I can find an example here. Let me go. Okay, here we go. Perfect. I'm just going to put another couple of lines. So the market itself is, let's say, starting to trend upwards from this little point here. So we're looking at the upper section now, the charts there. And the end of the trend is there. Okay, so this here is an uptrend. Now the ADX was over 25 obviously in this downtrend that we see here, which is great. And what we'd expect it to do once the trend is confirmed and it starts going in the upwards direction is that it crosses over the 25 again. The only problem is that sometimes it doesn't do that. It actually delays in how long it takes to let you know there's a trend forming. So effectively, the market is, I'm just going to put another line here. This is a point at which the ADX crosses over, okay? And, it ends up actually going downwards and then shoots back up, and that's what we're interested in. But we can see that we've kind of missed out a lot of the trading here. We lost out on a lot of pips here simply because the ADX is delaying in how long it takes to respond to prices. There's nothing you can do about that, unfortunately. Don't worry about it. Don't just look at the trend and go, the ADX is not working. It's not right. It's a wrong indicator. It's just a delayed indicator. You know, you got to remember with every indicator, it doesn't tell you the future. It just gives you the past and what's happened and or what's happening now. And unfortunately, the ADX indicator, despite the fact it does that, it takes a while to kind of readjust and reset itself to kind of work in your favor. Alternative, what you could do is even wait again and trade it from here. So, you have this quick uptrend period here where you start trading, and it's all represented well by the ADX and obviously by the price movement itself. Okay, so that concludes the ADX indicator. And I hope you understand it. If you don't, please rewind the video again. And one thing to bear in mind before we go is don't just use the ADX indicator on its own. It's just a indicator that helps you prove that you're right by looking at prices at the same time. Don't just think that you can trade a price to buy here just by looking at the indicator. You need to make sure that there's something else going on at the top here, i.e. the strategy that you're using is meeting all of its criteria, of which ADX is one of. So yeah, just don't use it on its own. Use it as part of a strategy that we're going to actually teach you how to do in a later areas of this course. Okay.